Right, hello again YouTube. Welcome back to some Kerbal Space Program. We'll start another tech tree, because I've kind of picked the next goal for the space program, the next thing I'd like us to do. Last time we sent the probe out to Duna to take a little bit of a look around. This time I'd like to get enough science to research electronics, which will give us some more science equipment and some more radio antennas, specifically the magnometer boom, or magnetometer, I think, which is a sort of magnetic scanner, which works only in space, I believe, or a vacuum. I think you can maybe land it on things like Minmus. And the seismic accelerator, which has to be placed on a surface, like an asteroid or a planet, and can pick up data. Because science is coming in a bit slower than I'd expected, so I think we need some more sources of it, and I think that's the next science experiment we can get. Might even be some of the last lot. No, there's some more up here, but that's one of the next ones we'll be able to get. Scanning would also be nice at some point for later resource drilling, but what I'm thinking, if we go to their tracking station, I believe the relay has two antennae on it. So what I'm thinking we do is we point the other antenna at a probe destined to Eve. And we send another one of the same probes we've got. I'm pretty sure the Delta V is not... Yeah, it's not significantly different to get out to Eve. So what we'll do is we'll go out to Eve and we'll send another one of, like I say, the same probe. Oh no, the relay only has one. Ah, okay. Okay, so the relay probe actually only has one dish. We might have to launch another one then. We did have the issue before, though, this thing being unbalanced. So, mind you, we can launch. We can launch to transmission height. So we'll do that. We'll launch another relay. We'll launch it straight to 2 million this time, because I believe that was the issue we had last time, and we'll wait to have the orbit sort of 90 degrees across the previous one, roughly. And then we'll send out a probe to Eve. It's a little bit of a repeat mission, but hey, that happens sometimes with Kerbal. So, relay. Again, ScanSat is making this a bit more complicated, but I'm kind of enjoying the sort of difference in gameplay here, I guess you would say. Obviously, if you guys have any the comments, if you have any ideas for missions, do comment about them. I'd like to hear them. I am very happy to listen to people's suggestions, especially if they've got good ideas for things we could do. Save. Yes, if you see, we're currently at about the same angle as the last relay. Not quite sure what it's... Oh, altitude 1.8 million. Okay, maybe we'll go for 1.5. So if we wait until it's sort of here and goes across like that, that should also increase our transmission reliability, I think, because I think the two can talk to each other. Where is it? Descent guidance. 1500, okay. And we'll wait until we are... So launch base is here. Should be about there-ish. It might not be perfect, but it should be close enough. Close enough for my... Is that okay? 3, 2, 1, lift off. Stop at stage 0. Yep, that's correct. Yeah, not too much waiting around with this one. Should, in theory, be quite a simple mission if it works as planned. We could even maybe have the Eve and Duna relays talk to each other, because I remembered, oh yeah, those are the ones with two transmitter dishes. Heck, maybe we should put one of those around Kerbal, given it was a slightly more reliable rocket. But either way, we'll stick with this for now, since we've already launched it, and I think it is quite cheap, this one. Yeah, it's got the cheaper launcher, hasn't it? Yeah, so it would be a bit cheaper to fly these. It did work. It was a bit awkward to maneuver, but it did work. Yeah, we don't have any contracts active at the moment. I will have a look at those. If we're doing an Eve launch, it's possible we'll get... Oh boy, so I've got a contract to go out there. The other thing we could potentially do is launch something to Ike, seeing as the Duna probe was already proven capable of getting out there. We'd also like to do some manned missions outside our solar system. Or Kerbal, I guess Kerbal missions. That's something we'll be considering at some point. I think we've got I think we've got the tech to do it. It might have to be... A fairly common strategy for landing on Duna, okay, is you have a craft that has a lander, which is capable of landing, returning to Duna's orbit, and doing a bit of manoeuvring on its own. And then you have a sort of big fuel tank with some efficient engines on the end for the sort of transfer. The idea is you leave the transfer stage in orbit around Duna, land the lander, come back up and redock to the transfer stage, and then that brings the whole thing back. So the lander doesn't have to be enormous. So we'll probably do something along the lines of that for our Duna mission. Ideally, I'd like to wait until we get the Nerva engines, the nuclear engines, because they're nice and efficient for that sort of mission. They're kind of perfect for it. But I don't know how far down the tech trees those are going to be, because they need about 500 science. I think. And I'm not even sure the Nerva's that early in the tech tree anymore. It might be the reactor first, and then we might need about 1,000 for a Nerva. It has the community tech tree does shuffle things up a little bit. But for the moment, things seem to be going reasonably well. Let's check the old altitude. We're 1/10 of the way there, but it's, like I say, it sort of accelerates. Once you get beyond a certain altitude, you can see it rapidly increases without too much extra power. Or thrust, I guess. Oh, I always get nervous when it does that. But yes, you can tell when you're out of the atmosphere because MechDev goes, time to detach that. We are extended. Both antennas are active. But we're good to go to point the antenna at something relevant. But yeah, like I say, we'll let it circularize with the booster attached, and we'll leave the booster on it as well. So clearly this stage is a little bit on the wobbly side, but we've got enough fuel with this, so we'll just leave the larger section on. It still seems to be able to orient itself with no problems. I was trying to think of the word there. Apoapse is looking great. Ariapse is also pretty much correct. Hey, that'll do it. Actually, probably face away from the planet, I guess. Not that it matters. I like how ScanSat doesn't actually require your satellite to actually point the right direction for its antenna. Yeah, we can see the signals being sent out. We'll target it for Eve, but we'll have to come in and readjust it later. Where is Eve on this? Yeah, and Eve's not really much further away than Duna. In fact, I think it's a bit closer. Yeah, it looks like it's actually closer most of the time. Cool. We have a signal. The other thing we could do with Eve is potentially land a surface probe, because Eve's a weird one. It's very, very easy to land on. It is extremely difficult to get back off again, because Eve's gravity is quite high, and its atmospheric pressure is higher than Kerbal's. So it's really easy to slow down in. Although you do need a fair few parachutes, I think. But, yeah, like I said, getting back off it usually requires some pretty hefty machinery. I don't think I've ever done an Eve return. I'm checking science automatically. It's like, no, we didn't make any science in that mission. That's the next part. So we're going to launch a Duna Ranger, even though it's not really a Duna Ranger today, but we'll rename it the Eve Ranger once we get it on the launch pad. Yes, the Rangers will be our series of exploration probes. Doesn't look like I'm seeing what the other planets require Delta V ways. I suppose one we should do. This could be one we could do soon, actually, even though it'll need a bit of Delta V. We should probably send a probe out to Eeloo, because Eeloo's kind of our grand target ultimately. Eeloo's where we're trying to go to. So we could send one. We could send one out to Eeloo to sort of map it ahead of time and scan it. We should probably do that, because again, we're trying to do the colony. Right. Gauge autopilot. 3, 2, 1, lift off. I forgot about that. Alright, probe core is there. Rename vessel. Eve Ranger. Well, that's the thought. Have we set the reset the relays as relay type? No, I think it sets probe still. I'll have to, oh no, maybe they are. I think maybe they are, actually. Now, let's have a look at those vessel type icons. The thing is, it's slightly buried in here. Ooh, that's a nice visual. I like that. Getting a bit spicier. Oh yeah, that is a relay icon. Cool. Yeah, it does know what it is. Yeah, Kerbal's surprisingly good at that, actually. Sort of working out what it is your craft are trying to be. Not always perfect, but it's pretty good. I don't believe it actually changes anything, that icon. It's just the representation for the map, basically. Just saying, like, oh, it's a this. The other thing we should do, and we'll do it before we do our burn to send this out to Eve, is we should check our space station, because it will have been gathering science. If you remember correctly, we were waiting for about a couple of years with that Duna probe. So, if we check the space station, we'll probably find we've gathered some science in the meantime. Yeah, I'd extend the antennas as well. We're going to need those. You're going to target... S2 relay? Is that the right one? SO2 relay. Yeah, I assume it must be because the other one it said out of line of sight, didn't it? And you'll target Kerbin for now. Mission control. Alright, this should, in theory, be ready to go. Oh, science. Oh no, it's just material study. Yeah, no, we don't want to do that. It is interesting that we haven't done one around Kerbin. I guess we could launch a really light little rocket to do that, but the science gain is not huge. But like I say, that's kind of why we're trying to gather some more data from a bit further away and get new science equipment, because we have done a fair bit around Kerbin, and we need to go a bit further. Potentially, we maybe even need some science mods. It may be that the community tech tree does increase the amount of science you need for things, and there are mods that add extra scientific equipment, so we could potentially expand on the setup. I'm kind of trying to avoid that mostly at the moment, because this setup is nice and lightweight, and that has been good for recording. It has meant that Kerbal hasn't crashed much at all, which it can do if you load it up a bit heavily, and the lag is not too bad at all. In fact, it hasn't really lagged much apart from with the big space station we built. Yeah, the space hotel. Climbing to orbit. Guess we're doing this maneuver in the dark. No connection, really. Uh-oh. Really, we're not connected to anything? We're out of power. Uh-oh. We're going to have to launch in daylight. Sorry about this, YouTube. We're going to have to do that again. It's so easy to screw up this game, man. It's so easy. What we'll do, we'll launch when it's just on the edge of daylight, and then that should mean we're in. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, we launched at like the perfect wrong time. Okay, the sun is coming up. That should be fine. Launch it to 1,000, so we're ready to do our transfer set array. Right, 3, 2, 1, go. And I really need to adjust those launch clamps to detach at the same time. We need to rename it again. No, that's the Science Junior. That's not the command core, that's a science pod. Right. That was the command core. Come on, click on it. Nope. Welcome to Kerbal camera clipping. Can I take your order? Oh, that was it. I got it for a moment there and then I lost it. Yeah, the shake is interesting. Can I try to do things like that? Right. Rename vessel. Eve Ranger. Okay. Now, of course, in real life, I'm thinking about the weight that we're going to have, like in Kerbal time anyway. Well, there's Eve there, so you can see it. Thank you, was it enhanced object lighting, visibility, reflections? I can't remember, but one of them lets you see them further away. Yeah, of course, in real life, you wouldn't just be waiting around for one rocket, and NASA have loads of things on the go because there's a big time delay a lot of the time for their maneuvers. Like, they won't launch so far away from the actual maneuver burn normally. They would normally... I don't know whether they'd send it out like a couple of weeks ahead to check your probe or whatever is all working and then send it out, but either way, they wouldn't wait so long. They'd launch it at about the right time to do the maneuver, usually, I think. But as we haven't got any contracts and there's no running costs for the Space Center, we actually don't lose anything by launching way earlier, so... And it's easier than trying to plan out when the actual windows for launch are going to be, so... Got to pick targets again. Target that relay. Target mission control. Yes, I think that was partly the antennas draining power and partly just not being in the sun. But of course now, they've launched into daytime, and we will still be in daytime by the time we get to our next maneuver. Is the main thing. So we should be okay this time. This is my kind of problem with Kerbal, is that I will forget small things like this constantly. I'll just be like, oh, shoot, I should have done X, Y, or Z kind of thing. Like, whoops. Like, the whole mission's scuppered now because of that. We might have been able to save that last one. It might have potentially moved into sunlight before it crashed, but I don't think it would have. But I am quite happy to reuse, or to use revert to launch. I'm not going to be too sort of like, oh no, we failed, we'll have to launch again kind of thing. It's like, no, I'm happy to just get on with it and like say revert and recover it. It's a pattern on the antenna there. I guess it's wire running through the center of it. I bet that probably weighs less than a kilo, that whole like sail. Probably they're really good at their lightweight materials over at NASA. I just suppose we're not NASA, we're Kerbal, so who knows what it's made of. It's probably gold tinfoil. So it's packet cost. Okay, so that's how much data is sent and how often it uses the power and power efficiency and everything. A lot of the time, the really high power antennas, while they use a lot of electricity, can send a lot of data at the same time, so it can be worth it. But you, of course, got to keep an eye on the batteries, as we, again, just found out. Okay, so circularization burn. There we go. Finally time warp. It's definitely a game that rewards some patience, Kerbal. You can rush into it on creative and just mess around with planes or explosions on the runway, but if you want to do actual space, it needs a little bit more. Ooh, wobbly wobble. And there we go, nice calm, serene mode. One thing I will say, when we get to some of the really high level tech, plasma thrusters, ion engines, that sort of thing, their burn times get very long, so I will probably be starting to skip some of the footage for those bits, because if we have like a 25-minute burn, it might work, but you don't want to be sitting around for that. I probably won't be entirely sitting around for that. I'll probably just put a bit of YouTube on in the background or something. Okay, we are nice and neatly in orbit. Yeah, that's fine, that's close enough. Right. Eve, I choose you, and we'll also have to get the relay to point to those once we've done our maneuvering. Once we've done our maneuver burn, transfer burn. I think that's the word. Yes, again, not much. If you get a good encounter, it really doesn't take much to actually get you to another planet. But it is departure in a year. There's a little bit of a wait. Right, so you know the drill. Hyperwarp. Okay, we'll zoom in so we're not giving people seizures. Somebody thought of that. Whoa, oh. That's why you quick save. Please tell me I remember to quick save in orbit. If I didn't, I will revert and I will... Okay, no, we're good. I did remember to quick save. Good. Oh, no, try to avoid seizures. No, that's even worse. Yeah. I'm a little hesitant to walk to absolute full speed because we missed it last time. Let's get to 100. We'll slow down. Right. Standard warp. Okay, we are still on the right one. Execute this node. Hello? Oh, we lost connection. Really? Okay. Okay, that is fine. What we need to do now is switch to S2 relay. I think we had this problem before. I think I even remember this. And we'll point the antenna at the Eve Ranger. Oh, yeah, it's this bit, isn't it? Hang on, no, that's the one pointing at the Duna Ranger. That's the wrong one. That is the one actually pointing at the Duna Ranger. We want this one. We'll rename the... I should probably rename these relays as well. We'll rename it to the Eve Probe relay. Eve Ranger relay. We took the Eve Ranger. It's currently out of line of sight, apparently. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, I hope we can actually get a signal to it. Hope we can actually get a signal to it when we actually need to do our maneuver, in which, if we can't, we might have to temporarily redirect the Duna Ranger as well. The Duna relay. I'm going to manually... Oh, God. Now. Quick save. Please work. Got 1 day. Hopefully it won't rotate completely out of visibility in 1 day. It's there at the moment. As long as it's somewhere where we can still see it. Okay, I think we're good. I think it's going to be overhead. Okay, we're good. It's the inner ones. It's that one there. Okay. Cool. Once we're outside of the Kerbal system, it won't be so much of a problem, but it shouldn't be anyway. We did have a little bit of an issue with that last time, but again, if we need to, we could point the Duna relay at it temporarily just to get the burn done. And really, as long as we can capture data on the flyby, it still succeeded, but it'd be nice to put it into orbit as well and get the extra bonuses for it. Right. Oh, really quick save, I think. Not too bad a burn. Again, apologies that a lot of Kerbal is sort of watching this stuff, but that is a bit of what Kerbal's like. There's sort of periods of excitement where you're actually commanding your rocket and doing things, and then there's a lot of periods of downtime where you're like, yep, waiting for that to happen. So, I wish we could open the doors on the aircraft at least. That'd be something to do. I haven't do anything beyond visually, but it's kind of neat. I'm surprised this isn't causing a weight imbalance, because it's clearly entirely loaded up on one side. But no, it's fine apparently. Let's check the map. We should be coming into encounter node any second if it's worked. Otherwise we might have to do our first fine tune. Oh no, look, I think it's done it. Definitely slapping a big old reliable sticker on this probe. Yeah, I don't often get that many of these encounters working as intended. Ooh, more science? But weird. Ah, no, it's the same stuff. No connection, really? Is something I've done wrong? Control. Why do we have no signal? What's going on here? Why don't we have a signal here? What's going on? Come back after a while? Maybe we've got it configured to point at the wrong one. Let's go to the tracking station and point the other relay at it. It might be that the antenna is trying to contact the wrong one, but with the wide signal range, we should be able to talk to it anyway. It's fine. We can co-opt both relays into pointing at it and just make sure we definitely do get a signal. It's not a problem. We only need the other one functioning when we're actually doing stuff around Duna, so... Okay, well that says it's got a signal now. Okay, now it has a signal. Yeah, so maybe we got it pointed at the wrong one. Let's set this to be the, We'll rename this craft to be the Duna Ranger relay. Then, tracking station. I think the green line means we've got contact again. So we'll connect this properly to the Eve relay. It could be that we had it on the wrong one. Well, I think it was on the right one, right? Ah, whatever. We'll point one at both. we'll double up. We'll ensure that we actually get a signal. ScanSat is a cruel mistress. Guess we need a really wide angle transmitter, perhaps. Even if it does use a lot of power. Right. Mission control. You can point at the Duna Ranger relay. Yeah, it was pointing at the wrong one. Eve Ranger relay. Okay. Okay, so now we have two relays pointing at the same probe and we have a signal. I guess they're more generic relays at this point rather than specific craft ones, but that's fine. As long as they're working. But yes, we have a signal now. It should be pretty consistent because we now got sort of cross pattern around Kerbin. We could even potentially send up a second main relay network. Like, you know, we've got the 5 transmits on a higher altitude with more powerful transmitters to increase their coverage as well. And then set up an even higher angle polar relay. But anyway. For now, our concern is with Eve. Quick save. Oh, and then we need to go check the lab. That'll be what we'll do to finish up the episode. Right. How we're looking. Our periaps is actually not going to re-enter, so that's good. That's fine. We can actually just circularize at the periaps. Quick save, so hopefully this will actually work. And let's give it a try. Still getting sunlight. There's Eve. Big old purple ball in the distance. Big old gobstopper. Not sure why the time warp temporarily throttled back there, but oh well. Don't know whether we'll count as a low orbit around Eve. But either way, we'll grab the data from... We'll grab it from the altitude we're at. We can always set another one to go lower if we need to. 1.5 minute burn, and we've actually got a signal, so it should actually work. A weird looking planet with a... with, I think it's Scatterer doing the clouds. I could be wrong on that, but I think that's the one doing it. Sort of green and a purple. But yes, as you can see, very thick atmosphere. You can even see it on the view. There is a surface. There's a lot of water. Or was it liquid methane or something? I don't think it's actually water. I just realised, I think it's supposed to be liquid methane. That would mean we could get, we could maybe refuel our liquid methane rockets off of it, which are really high power. So that could be a good way to do a landing on Eve, maybe. We could just slurp fuel up out of the water. We could do a water landing and refuel. Or even just a floating water lander, I suppose. But yeah, that could work. Especially since you could launch quite a big lander if you launched it empty and then refuel out of the water. Yeah, if that's right, which I'll have to double check, but I believe that's right. That could be a way to do a return mission from Eve, perhaps. Because you can land in parachutes. You wouldn't need fuel to land, I don't think. Bit of inspiration from our our old Nereid water landing, maybe. Sort of subconsciously coming through there. But yeah, I think that could be good. Maybe give that a try. Back to slowing down. Oil. Right. Quick save. Let's start transmitting some data back. So, 30 science. 15 science. Not... Oh, wow, that's... Okay, no, I was going to say that's really bad transmission rate. No, that's the other experiment. Material study, 37.5 science. We need about 300 for what we were trying to do. But we can grab a bit extra from the lab. And 20 science. So there are definitely still some gains to be made for sending a much larger science probe and actually bringing some data back. Potentially even sending a return capsule back rather than the whole thing. But, you know, we have a few options for how we do it. I can't activate SAS despite having a signal. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Space Center, we did the bit we came for, and we'll quickly go and gather some data from the lab as well. But we'll also check our world first, because of course we've been to Eve, you know. And any of the missions we've done sent out to the planets probably have enough fuel to go out to the moons as well. Maybe not the Eve one. The Eve trip does take a bit more than the Duna trip. Only about 300 delta V, but it's a little bit, and to get to the moon you need about 500 or 600 more than that. First flyby of Eve for orbit of Eve and scientific data from Eve. We get about 100,000 science money from that. And we've got the science we need, but we'll go visit the lab anyway. And next time, maybe we'll land a slightly more advanced probe on one of the moons, maybe. Could be an interesting little side mission, because we don't want to completely abandon the Kerbal system, and there's still data to be found, definitely. So, and with our better relays, we could maybe land something on there and bring back a sample capsule. What are we looking for? We're looking for... Oh, we need to rename it. Our station star's the wrong name. I forgot about that. Come on, loading screen. Hurry up. You're making those wonderful YouTube viewers wait. I don't know why this shows through on the loading screen. Hello, tourists. How be things? Yep, still spelt wrong. It is deliberate. Hotel California. Great. How are we looking on the science? Ooh. It's built up. It's sort of doing that because it's catching up with all this research that's been done. Right. Transmit science. And also you might as well clean the experiments while you're there. Taking a little bit of time to transmit all that science because it's quite a lot. We've got big batteries on board though, so we should be okay, even if it is draining a fair bit of power. It's cleaned out. Oh, we can actually do... Can we actually repeat them? Visual observation. Oh, visual observation thing needs to be manned. Ah, okay. I guess we could move the scientists across, but I think their researchers we better leave them. So I'm about to get a big chunk of science. And there's still data in there. So there is still potentially a bit more science that can be done. But yeah, like I say, science from labs can generate quite a lot. Should be getting 400 basically from this. Should actually be enough for us to take another 300 science research. I don't know what it'll be, but we'll maybe have a little look before we end the episode, see what looks like it could be good to take. Or we could take a bigger engine or something perhaps, but I think science is definitely the one I want to take next. Again, it gives us a new experiment for space or for gravity, airless planets, and it gives us a new experiment for, what do you call it? For ground science. And I believe the ground, the seismometer gives a good amount. Off I vaguely remember. Hey, there we go. Would you look at that? 399 science. Guess it rounds up or down, maybe. Maybe doesn't transmit point whatever of the science. I believe there are also strategies we could do to gain more science and maybe check what they are. It could be worth losing a bit of something else to gain more science. Look in the admin building. The unpaid research program. Oh, that directly eats reputation to give us science, okay. Funds income, yeah, there's the one. Takes 5% of the funds income and yields an extra science. I believe we can go up to 25%. How good can it get? Not much better, honestly. Losing a quarter of our funding that we get, but we'd gain... What do we get paid a lot of the time? We get... Say we get like a 500,000 mission, right? We lose, what, 125,000, which would equate to about 10 science? We'll maybe leave that for now. That's not a great ratio. Even at 10,000, it wouldn't be much more. It'd be, what, 12? But yes, I think we will take this. We'll take electronics, seismometer, magnetometer, etc. We get some more ground stations. Yeah, we've got enough ground stations that we can set up a ground science center. What have we got so far? We've got the seismometer and the communicator. That's good. We've got the weather analyzer. We've got... Where are the other bits? Maybe it's would need... We have the control station. Do we have the power station? If we had the power station, we could do this, actually. We could actually set up a ground relay center and get some more science from that. That they'll, like, they sort of make science over time. We do! We actually could do that. Maybe that's what we should do next episode. Maybe we should launch a new, larger Minmus lander. I'll say Minmus because it's easy to get to. With our new equipment on it. I think that's maybe what we might do. Power is tempting. We don't have great solar panels, and this will start unlocking some more. That's already got that, haven't we? Oh, it's an upgraded version, I guess. Automation. Oh, the actual metric probe. Don't think we need that. Scanning tech. Oh, scanning was something I was saying about as well for resources. When do we get RERSU? Is it there? Okay. Oh, that's not far off, actually. We could start to invest towards that. We could get rovers. What do we need, rovers? They're not typically very useful. Mostly just because they're just too slow compared to the size of a planet. Some more fuel tanks, metalworks. Don't think that's a priority. Composites, same, not really a priority. We might want those later, the larger aero shells, but for the moment we're good. Very heavy rocketry could be good. That's starting to add some larger boosters and things. Mammoth's very useful. Wolfhound's extremely useful. Boar's quite a good engine as well. Where do we get the Nerva? Where is that in this mod pack? Where is the Nerva? That's fuel. That's reactors. I thought it would be under... Oh, we already have the Nerve. I don't know why I thought we didn't have it, but we already have it. Okay. Yeah, we will take electrics then in that case. Let's get some more solar panels and things available to us. And the rest we could maybe invest in something smaller. That doesn't give us anything, so there's no point ever taking that. Planes, potentially. No, we'll save it for now. Okay. We'll call the episode there. Hopefully you've all enjoyed. Like I say, next time we'll maybe start on a... We'll check the contracts very quickly. We'll maybe start on a larger landing on... I was going to say Minmus, but then again, they have this. Nah, we'll do Minmus. We'll start a new... Oh, do we have a tourist one? Land on the moon with one tourist. Or we could do the moon and bring a tourist with us. Do a whole bunch of missions in one go. Doesn't offer a lot, but then again, if we're already doing the flight... Yeah, we'll take that. We'll land on the moon. We'll bring a tourist. We'll set up a ground station. It'll be cool. But I will see you guys all next time. Bye-bye for now.